Hello, everyone, and welcome to this on-demand security operations session on reducing your exposure time and risk with ArcSight. My name is Preston Weiler, and I'll be presenting this topic today. I'm based in Utah in the United States and have been with Micro Focus for about 3 years as a product marketer for security operations, or SecOps, with a primary focus on ArcSight's real-time correlation engine, ArcSight ESM. Today I'll be going over the concept of exposure time, the rising risk it poses to organizations like yours, and how the ArcSight Security Operations platform tackles this problem from multiple angles to reduce your exposure and enable your organization and your SOC with greater cyber resilience. For our agenda, we'll start by covering the risk and the key challenges before moving into ArcSight's specific offerings to help in this critical SOC use case. As the world's cyberspace continues to expand, so do its attack surfaces and threat vectors. The risk of exposure to threats and breaches continues to rise year after year. According to research by Risk-Based Security, in 2020 there were close to 4,000 breaches that together exposed over 37 billion records. That's more than double the total number of records exposed in 2019. Breaches that expose the sensitive assets and data at your organization can result in fines, disruption of service, lawsuits, and a significant loss in market reputation. One study found that in cases of confirmed data breaches, the average total cost of a data breach amounted to $3.86 million US. One of the biggest contributing factors to this high cost is the extended length of time that's required to detect, contain, and remediate threats, which ideally should happen in minutes or hours, but in actuality takes weeks or even months on average. The longer it takes you to address a breach, the greater the exposure and the more costly it becomes. Truly, every second matters. One of the most critical roles of your security operations team is its responsibility to limit your organization's business risk by reducing its exposure to breaches and other security threats. So how can organizations reduce their exposure? To mediate a threat in your environment, you first need to know it exists. You then need to combat it as quickly and thoroughly as possible. As such, your overall exposure time is a function of your detection time and your response time. Both need to be addressed if you wish to cut down exposure. It doesn't do a lot of good to discover a threat quickly if you can't quickly respond to it. Likewise, the ability to quickly respond to threats doesn't help much if it takes you weeks to discover the threat in the first place. But reducing detection and response time is becoming increasingly difficult. Micro Focus's 2020 State of Security Operations report found that 2020, and in particular the rise of the COVID-19 pandemic, brought an increasing volume of cyber threats, including many new COVID, health, and remote work-related cyber attacks. Organizations are employing many different SecOps tools to combat the rise in attacks, but investigating and prioritizing security alerts and incidents is still reported as the top challenge facing SecOps teams. You can read more from the 2020 State of Security Operations report at microfocus.com/stateofsecops. But these challenges are only the start of why reducing threat exposure can be such a trying task. Another big issue is that SOCs like yours are going up against a wide variety of cyber threats. This includes more common threats that follow established attack patterns, such as phishing, PowerShell, and brute force techniques, to name a few. But your organization also faces newer threats that continue to evolve, such as insider threats, advanced persistent threats, or APTs, and other elusive threats that consistently challenge the detection capabilities of SOCs globally. Whether it's a known or unknown threat, the longer it goes undetected and unaddressed, the more damage it can do to your business's critical assets. There are many different security technologies out there that specialize in detecting different types of threats, but these are often siloed, standalone solutions. They do their best to catch threats, but in the end, they just overwhelm your analysts with a flood of alerts, false positives, and disjointed interfaces. They often rely on manual processes as well, which is particularly problematic due to the ongoing skills shortage facing the cybersecurity industry. Resources are quickly overwhelmed, slowing investigation and response, and giving threat actors even more time to wreak havoc in your IT environment. In the end, SecOps teams are left with a dire need to reduce their exposure through faster, more accurate threat detection and response. Micro Focus understands this struggle and can help your organization solve it with an end-to-end security operations platform that helps you get that risk of exposure under control by enabling your security team to efficiently and effectively detect and respond to threats. The ArcSight platform employs a layered analytics approach that allows you to collect and normalize all the security event data in your organization as it occurs, then analyze it with multiple threat analytics tools, including real-time correlation, behavioral analysis, and big data threat hunting, to provide comprehensive threat detection of both known and unknown threats. And the best part is, these solutions aren't siloed. ArcSight combines these analytical layers together to maximize contextual insight, and then centralizes the results of each layer through a single UI called ArcSight Fusion. Fusion allows your team to quickly visualize, identify, and analyze the most severe threats facing your organization. ArcSight's native SOAR capabilities then further reduce your exposure time by orchestrating and automating repetitive analyst tasks and by facilitating rapid automated threat response. So now we'll dig a little further into the details of each of these offerings. Okay, so first, as I mentioned before, ArcSight employs multiple security analytical tools to cast a wide threat detection net over your organization to uncover threats as quickly and comprehensively as possible. ArcSight's industry-leading correlation engine, ArcSight Enterprise Security Manager, or ESM, scalably ingests and correlates events in real time using powerful, adaptable rules and risk scoring. It enables you with near immediate detection and escalation of threats that follow established attack patterns, also known as known threats. Integration with threat intelligence solutions like MISP and Anomaly keep ArcSight up to date and extend its threat detection coverage to include even the most recently documented threats. But what about unknown, undocumented threats? While less common, these threats are just as dangerous and harder to recognize. But fortunately, ArcSight has you covered there too. ArcSight Intelligence monitors and establishes unique behavioral baselines for all users and entities within your enterprise to uncover suspicious activities and behaviors. Backed by unsupervised machine learning and over 400 mathematical models, ArcSight ensures accurate behavioral monitoring and risk scoring to optimize SOC leads and focus efforts on the riskiest threats, including elusive ones such as insider threats and APTs. So if something unusual is happening in your organization, ArcSight Intelligence can flag that and notify you. Finally, ArcSight also incorporates big data analytics that's been optimized for security operations and simplified for everyday use. Backed by powerful visualizations, rapid search, anomaly detection, and supervised machine learning, ArcSight Recon enables analysts to investigate and proactively hunt for both known and unknown threats. And it does this within mountains of data without requiring a database administrator to operate it. But unlike other security operations platforms, ArcSight doesn't just deliver this variety of detection and investigation technology in separated silos. ArcSight goes even further by layering these analytical technologies together, having them communicate with each other, and giving them a shared centralized interface to maximize contextual insight and alert accuracy. The ArcSight Fusion interface, pictured here, unites ArcSight's various components to enable your SOC with a single pane of glass that reduces what's known as swivel chair syndrome, or the need to shift back and forth between resources. In other words, it saves your analysts time. By merging the insights from multiple analysis tools onto a shared UI, ArcSight can collectively analyze results and provide your team with greater context behind each threat alert and risky user. As just one example, Fusion allows you to see which of your SIEM's highest priority alerts are associated with the riskiest users and entities in your organization, as detected by behavioral analytics. Layered analysis increases the accuracy of your SOC in separating true threats from false positives, allowing your team to quickly prioritize and address the riskiest threats. ArcSight Fusion's intuitive shared interface and customizable widgets ensure that your SOC can effortlessly stay informed of security threats and stay on top of the SOC metrics that matter most to you. Finally, ArcSight significantly reduces response time by offering native security orchestration, automation, and response capabilities, free of charge with ArcSight Recon and ArcSight ESM. ArcSight automates repetitive tasks and initiates swift threat response through a number of SOAR tools and features, such as scenario-driven playbooks and customizable case management. The ArcSight SOAR also offers integration plugins with over 110 partner solutions and products to ensure response activities can be effectively coordinated across your SOC. The ArcSight SOAR reduces the workload of your analysts, saving them time and enabling them to focus on their most critical exposure reduction activities. In summary, ArcSight is an end-to-end security operations platform that employs multiple advanced security technologies, from machine automation to layered analytics, in order to help you establish an efficient human-machine team within your SOC that will reduce both your detection time and response time for more resilient security operations. With ArcSight, your organization can significantly reduce its threat exposure and risk while simultaneously increasing your team's accuracy and overall effectiveness. To learn more, we have a 3-minute intro video and a flyer available in the ArcSight booth's lists of assets. And we also recommend visiting the webpage for the ArcSight portfolio to learn more about exposure time reduction, as well as several other critical SOC use cases. We also highly recommend watching our exposure time reduction demo in the demo booth, as well as our live breakout session on ArcSight's layered analytics in action, which will also touch on exposure time reduction. So that covers everything today as a high-level overview of how to reduce your exposure time and risk with ArcSight. Thank you for listening in, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you again.